in the tradition, there is a interesting narrative about 62, verse 62, that people like Abdullah ibn Sayfa, وعدي bin Zayd, وحرث ibn Auf, and people like that, that these fellows, they were all Jewish, but it wasn't just Jewish, but there were also some of what we describe as the munafiqun, but these three were Jewish and some others who started doing something very interesting. They would convert to Islam, and then after Uhud, they left Islam and cited a whole set of reasons, among them the results in the Battle of Uhud. But the phenomena, we're going to talk about those who left Islam after the Battle of Uhud a bit later, but the phenomena that is described in the tradition were people like Abdullah ibn Sayfa, who apparently intentionally would convert and then say, after we've become Muslim, we got closer to Muslims and our hearts became full of doubt, and so we left. And they would do this intentionally to sow doubt in the hearts of Muslims. As you know, because of course the natural reaction is that you would go to these people and say, oh, why are you leaving? You know, we used to come to prayer, and why did you stop coming to prayer? And they would say, well, okay, here are all the problems we have. And, you know, of course, some in the tafsir works especially, they say that this is the occasion for a revelation of verse well, it's actually often reported was verse 72, and a minority of reports that says it's everything from 62 to 72. Let's skip ahead for a little bit. Look at 72. وقالت طائفة من أهل الكتاب آمنوا بالذي أنزل على الذين آمنوا وجه النهار واكفروا آخره لعلهم يرجعون. So that some of them said, believe part of the day, and this is allegorical, because it's not that they would believe part of the day and then go back at night. It is that they would believe for days and then go back. Anyway, whether it was an occasion for revelation in 72, it's clear that the Quran is referring to a phenomena, right? But this phenomena seems to have been from the time that the Prophet ﷺ arrived in Medina, that there were people who would intentionally pretend to become Muslim and then leave Islam and then have a diwaniyah, have a major social event where they start telling people why they left Islam. And a couple of things, it's very striking about this, and if we ever do the Surah Halaqas, we could talk about this at much greater length. But notice, I've always been struck by, okay, so these people would become Muslim, and we have reports of a large number who apparently did this, Jews and non-Jews. and then have meetings where they would start talking to people about, you would expect that the response to this would be by force. That Muslims would send in their armed troops to break up the meeting. Or that Muslims would send armed troops to break up the meeting and arrest these people, imprison these people, execute these people. But none of that happened. You can't just pass over it. And if we talk, if we do these Surah halaqas, whatever Allah wills, there's much more in terms of details that we can talk about, because the names, and there are many narratives that I would love to share, and many details that you just get left out in every of all the modern histories that have been written. So that's part of it. The other is, look at the beginning of Surah Al-Imran anchors you in the party that claims to be with God, the party that truly surrenders to Allah Malik al-Mulk, Allah, the true Lord of all. Well, those who are not clear about their faith, they haven't surrendered, will be influenced by nonsense like that. This is like the Muslims of today who get influenced by Islamophobia, or get influenced because of the so-called, former Muslims who form alliances and, take out billboards and say we're proud to have left Islam and so on. SubhanAllah, Allah is alerting you. What is your faith? Is it based on your impressions of the other, or is it based on a genuine, true relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? Because if your faith is based on a real relationship with Allah, nothing affects it. Nothing. I mean, it doesn't matter who does what, who says what. You have the true, genuine experience, and that's all that matters. If it is borderline, then yes, you are affected by, this opinion, by this event, by this defeat, by this victory, by this up, this down. You're like a seesaw, you go back and forth.